Hello, everybody, and welcome to Fan Dummies. I'm Greg.
And I'm Aaron.
And in this video, we're going to dive deep into what the Shadow and Bone Grishaverse is. Are you excited for that, Aaron?
Oh, yeah.
We're going to talk about what it is. The Grishaverse, and it's E like Grishaverse, you know, for everyone watching if you're wondering. The Grishaverse is a fantasy universe created by Lee Bardugo, and it spans several books and now a Netflix original series, which is, I'm sure, why everybody's clicking on this video.
In the Grishaverse, there are several countries with their own people and cultures.
Mm-hmm.
And in this world, there are people born with special abilities called Grisha.
Oh, wow.
I think you've heard this Grisha word over and over.
What are the people called that don't have powers?
Non-Grisha?
Muggles?
Muggles. That's another fantasy novel, Greg.
Sorry, I confused them. Go ahead.
Grisha appear to be doing magic, but it's really small science.
Oh, versus the big science.
So is this one of those fantasy sci-fi shows that we talk about?
It's not.
No?
Mm-mm.
It's very similar to Avatar: The Last Airbender, if you're familiar with that. I mean, everybody has seen Avatar. Not the blue avatars. The avatars that can wind and
Right.
fire and water and rocks or ground, earth.
So like Grisha is what you're saying.
Yes. It's pretty much just elemental magic.
Yeah. Elemental magic is very common in fantasy worlds.
Yeah.
Seems like it always comes up.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's a cool concept.
The Grisha come in a couple of types, and this is going to come up a lot, so pay close attention. Get out your pencil.
Uh-oh. Test time?
There's the ethereal key, who can manipulate light, darkness, weather, tides, and fire. So in the show, you see people like making wind blow, you know, Alina, the Darkling.
An airbender?
An airbender. These are all ethereal keys.
Yeah.
Okay. The next one is the Corporal Key. And these are the healers or the heart renders and the tailors. You see a lot of these in the show. They're the people who can like grab your heart like and stop it or make you pass out or make you speak truths that you don't want to speak.
Yeah. Are they also healers? That's what I was wondering.
Yeah. Healers, heart renders, and tailors.
Yeah.
Essentially, anybody that can manipulate the human body is a Corporal Key.
Seems like it's good to have a Corporal Key on your team.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Then there's the material keys. And they work with basically materials and chemistry. So they're the people who build the stuff and create and invent and make poisons and potions and stuff like that.
That'd probably be you.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, instead of like having to buy like a CNC machine or like a 3D printer, they just like magic it.
Yeah.
So Aaron, where did the Grishaverse start? Because you introduced me to this whole thing.
It started with a trilogy of books called the Shadow and Bone Trilogy. And that includes book 1, which is Shadow and Bone, book 2, Seige and Storm, and book 3, Ruin and Rising, which are really great. You should read them if you haven't read them already.
Yeah, they're really good.
They were published back in 2012, so they are getting a little old, I guess, but they're still very relevant.
It's sad to say 2012 is old.
Well, I mean, for publishing these books, it's like what was popular at the time.
Yeah.
This was coming off of a lot of like fantasy novels that were popular.
Yeah, exactly.
So
exactly. This one stuck though. A lot of these other ones kind of faded away, but this one stuck.
Well, we got like Harry Potter, Twilight, and I'm sure there's a bunch more I'm forgetting, but those were like the main two.
All the Avatar stuff, which we just talked about. After the Shadow and Bone books came the Six of Crows Duology. And I read a lot of books, and this is the first time I've ever heard a series, a 2-book series called a duology.
Really?
Yeah, it's really weird. I'd never heard that term before this.
Huh.
And it started with book 1, Six of Crows, and then book 2 is called The Crooked Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the Six of Crows takes place 2 years after the events of Shadow and Bone, and that's kind of important to understand as we talk about this show more and more.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Aaron, you read the Six of Crows Duology.
I did. It's really great as well.
Really?
Yeah. It's still in the same Grishaverse. To me, it was lacking Grisha.
Mm-hmm.
It was more about a gang of thieves that were on a heist. So it was more like an Ocean's 11 type book.
Yeah.
But the fact that they, I guess, threw in some of the elemental magic and the heist, but I really liked the characters in that book. And when I found out that they were going to be in the Shadow and Bone series, it made me pretty excited. But we'll talk about that more here in a little bit.
Yeah.
And then there's the King of Scars Duology. And that starts with King of Scars and then the Rule of Wolves.
Ooh.
That one just came out recently. The King of Scars timeline is 1 year after the Six of Crows books. And they're back in Ravka as well.
See, that to me sounds much more interesting.
Uh-huh.
I'm not super into heist books. I just think they're overdone.
Yeah.
I would totally be interested in reading another series centered around Ravka and the Grisha for sure.
Well, you should read it.
There are also 2 standalone books, one called The Language of Thorns and the other called The Lives of the Saints. And apparently you can read them all by themselves. You don't have to read any of the other books. You can just read one of those.
Mm-hmm.
One is like stories, like old stories of the realm, folklore.
Mm-hmm.
And then one is about the saints that came before Alina.
Ooh.
Seems interesting.
Other sun summoners?
I don't know. I've not read them.
Ooh.
But
yeah, I haven't read those either.
But the fact that they're standalone books makes them appealing to me.
Yeah.
Like a one and done. I could use that.
I pretty recently started reading The King of Scars.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's it's been pretty fun so far.
Like you're actively reading that
Yeah.
right now? Oh.
You don't know what I'm reading.
I don't. It's funny we never talk about what
Well,
we're
sometimes
reading.
we do. I just started reading it recently, so I didn't say anything about it.
Yeah.
Like usually I'm like, whoa, this is pretty good. Like, 100 pages in or whatever.
Yeah. Or if you're reading like a Star Wars book or something.
Yeah. Or if something happens in it and I get mad and then I tell you.
That's super funny.
Well, now the Grishaverse has a show consisting of the Shadow and Bone trilogies and the Six of Crows Duology. But this new Netflix adapted show only has 3 of Crows.
That's true. But can it be considered like a prequel to the Six of Crows?
I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I read something from the producers that said something about you got to think of it more as a prequel.
Yeah. But they did take elements of the books
Yeah.
because there were parts where you're like, this was in the book. This was in the book.
Oh,
This was
yeah.
not supposed to happen during this time.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff that is similar from the books. They tweak some stuff a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
but like nothing too major, I think, from the Six of Crows, except for the huge difference in the Six of Crows book versus series is the time.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're going to get into the major differences between kind of the books and the show
Yeah.
later in the podcast.
Yeah. You just can't think of this timeline change too hard because it does get like wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey and everything. So just got to go with it.
Yeah. Thank you so much for watching Fan Dummies. Did you learn something new about the Grishaverse that you didn't know before you watched this video? Did we miss something that you want to tell the world? Put it in the comments. If you want to learn even more about the Shadow and Bone series, the books, the Grishaverse, any of that stuff, check out our podcast. It's a full-length podcast we'll put in the show notes below. As always, we talk about superheroes and science fiction every week. Hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and hit that bell. And of course, you can find us at Fan Dummies on all social media, and we would love to have a follow. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
If you like this Shadow and Bone video, you should check out some of these up here. I think you'll like those too. Thanks. Bye-bye.